our panel discussion. And this panel 2 discussion, the topic would be the power of data analytics using employee data to enrich decision making. And for this, I would like to call on stage, please put your hands together for Dr. Jawahar, the Director, Human Resources from BEML. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? Mr. Rupesh Gupta, Senior Director of Human Resources from Snapdeal. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Rupesh, everyone? Mr. Yash Singh, Head HR from Ebro, India. Dr. Shashi Kant, Associate Director, HR, ER, North Zone from Flipkart. Last but not the least, our moderator, please put your hands together for Mr. Tuhin Biswas, CHRO from Emami Limited. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Tuhin Biswas? So thank you so much, sir. So over to you. Over to you. So now you're the captain of the ship. You have to take care of it. Thank you so much. The timings are on.
Hello. Mic is on.
Hello. So very good morning to all the audience. We have a very interesting topic, the power of data analytics using data to enrich decision making. This is a very important topic in today's world and very relevant for this, not only for today, also for the future. And if I look at people analytics, this is not only which helps you for productivity, cost, or business decisions making, it helps the organization to grow. It's a very important data today, people analytics. A lot of organizations had been ignoring this in the past, but from COVID, before COVID, it was just a thought. But what happened is, after COVID, we have seen somehow things have got accelerated. We are looking more into how can we have the best people analytics to make the organization much more better and we can take in better decisions. Okay. Also, if I look at, there's one article in McKinsey which says the best people analytics team may take one step back for every 2 steps up, but their trajectories are always upwards. It's a very important line which says that you take a step behind to see where you are before you move 2 steps ahead. See, we have different kinds of data, from poor data, good data, average data, analytical data, and then finally you get into the reliable predictions of the future, what kind of data people analytics need. Okay. Not taking much time on the information, we have expert panels here to discuss about very important topics. Okay. I think 2 important things before I really conclude and start the discussion is, we have to really analyze the capabilities of the HR team and the mindset of the organization. These are the 2 important things for any data analytics organization who is actually transforming to a data analytics organization. Yeah. Let me start with Yash. Yash, can you tell us that what kind of challenges do you think as an organization for you work with Snapdeal for an e-commerce, no, you work with Ebro, right? Ebro Foods and food organization. What kind of data analytics challenges do you face and see looking at the future?
Thank you very much, Mr. Biswas. First of all, many congratulations to Synex for organizing this wonderful HR summit for 2 days, today and tomorrow. And coming back to the question on challenges on data analytics, I believe the most important and the biggest challenge in front of all of us is gathering the authentic data. So that is the most important challenge, I would say, the biggest challenge, because if you don't have the authentic data, I believe that, this will be just a calculation, not a decision-making information in front of you. So one is this. Second is, what do you want to measure with that data? If you have the authentic data, what do you want to measure? And doing it properly. So suppose, I'm just giving you an example. Suppose you want to analyze the data of the impact of training on the managers, and you want to make some decision out of it. And then you also include the staff impact on the training impact of the staff. If you include that, that would be generalized, and you won't be getting the right information to make the decision. So you have to first define that what do you want to measure, and then we can make the decision on the basis of the analysis. Third big challenge which I see is the management support and the budget. So, we know that, data analytics, using the technology in data analytics, this is very costly also. But the management support that can be gained if the HR skills, the fourth challenge which I believe is the HR skill set which is required for data analysis. So if you have the right set of skills, the HR professionals, they have the right set of skills, they can also get the buy-in of the management. So that depends upon the HR skill set. And there, for HR professionals, the two more challenges are there. First is their mindset, because HR is not considered to be a technology-friendly, profession. So that's why they deal with it. And then also, they have to get lots of training to get that skill set which is required to analyze the data. So fourth challenge is, as I mentioned, that HR skill set, which is very important, and that we have to gather so that, we can analyze the data. So for me, these are the biggest challenges.
Thanks, Yash. I think that's a very important thing, that HR mindset, which plays a very important role. Do you really want to change? Do you want to move from transactional data to a data orientation organization? Is what is very important. Coming back to Dr.
One more thing which I want to add is this, that, I think HR professionals, they have to make sure that, nowadays, the time has come when the HR professionals, they have to spend or invest just 30% of their time for HR operations or time office or other coordination activities. They have to put 70% of the time for the things which are required for the business, which is very important for the business. Like, for example, for management consulting firm, knowledge is more important. So how to inculcate the knowledge in the staff, and for manufacturing like us, we have the efficiency more important. So how to increase the efficiency of the staff, that is more important to us. So how to utilize that 70% of the time to increase the efficiency, that is very important for HR people.
Thank you, Yash. Over to Dr. Jawahar. Dr. Jawahar, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Jawahar, who is the HR leader from public sectors. We see a lot of public sectors either being privatized, or they've got a lot of money to spend on analytics. I'm sure the audience will really agree that we'd like to know that in a public sector organization, BEML, what kind of analytics really helps? So do you have a scope of coming up with an leveraging on the analytics or the digitization? We want to know your perspective, and how does public sector look into this?
Thank you so much. In fact, when I was asked to give my views on digitalization in organization, particularly challenges and way forward. See, first and foremost thing, since I represent a very old and renowned public sector, but which is under disinvestment right now by the government of India. This organization, it has to run in two kind of environment. One is, it has to work in a competitive environment like a private organization. But at the same time, it has to work like a public sector following government rules and norms. Now, digitalization is in between these two. So digitalization, there is no choice today for the people, whoever is working in organization, particularly in HR, particularly in an organization which has got huge number of manpower. There is no choice. You have to go for digitalization. Now, what are the areas, how we can leverage it, how we can take it forward for digitalization and progressing further using these two. So, let me talk about recruitment. In sourcing, gone are the days, 20 years before, 30 years before, when I started my career, that's the time there are huge number of volume of data. People, there is a huge demand for public sector jobs. So most of the people were rushing towards public sector jobs. So huge number of applications were there. But those days, tracking application was a tough task. Today, after digitalization, after introduction of SAP system in the organization, tracking application has become much, much easier, particularly when reservation policies are to be followed. The person, whether he is belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBC, physically challenged person, an economically weaker section. When you recruit 10 people, I have to follow all these things. So, keeping these challenges as, our other panel was telling, keeping this challenge, digitalization brings big relief to the HR fraternity. Second is the payroll system. Manually making it, people were efficient. Manually, when we dream of how people can manually do 10,000 employees pay, and that too, they put it in envelope. Suppose salary is 3,000 rupees, they count the money, put it in envelope, and keep it ready, and first week of every month, they come and they call each employee and distribute to them. Think of the situation today. Say, payroll system digitalization has helped a lot, but a lot of things need to be done further. So reduction in need for manual paperwork has drastically reduced. Then what will they do with those people? Those people mindset, as our friend Yash was telling, the mindset. There is a mindset of old way of doing. How to bring it to them? Banks have already done it. Lot of transformation. Public sector, yes, already a lot of things are happening. Today, average age of a leading public sector employee, be it BHEL, be it SAIL, be it NTPC for that matter, average age of an employee, even in BEML, average age of employees, 50 to 52 years. That means people will be preparing for their superannuation retirement. At this stage, telling them to think digitally and digitalization and data analytics, it's a big challenge. So, despite of all those things,
Just to interrupt, Dr. Jawahar, say when you say that's a challenge, but as a public sector, we also see a lot of new technology which has been really implemented. But what exactly the public sectors are doing to an extent, change the mindset of people and make them more digital oriented or the data oriented?
Yes, a lot of progressive thinking has gone into the thought process. People are trying hard to buy the new technology and train the people, particularly change management mindset, changing the mindset of the people through a lot of training program, lot of interventions, brainstorming sessions. People mindset is being changed. A lot of youngsters have joined in the organization with the engineering background, particularly in HR. People were talking about capability of HR professional. Yes, it's true. There is a mindset among the HR fraternity is that HR people are not good at figures, doing analytical work. This mindset has to change. So today's scenario, most of the organizations, they are taking HR professionals with engineering background. A lot of engineers, even in IIMs, in XLRI, people are joining there with engineering background. So this is not the case today. Today, most of the HR professionals are coming with engineering background. They are coming with a lot of predictive analysis technique, a lot of statistical background, and a lot of analytical skills. with them. And one of the most important skill set for any HR professional is analytical skill. I think today things are changed. Some of the predictive analysis which can be enforced in HR, which we are doing already, is that number of employees superannuating in a particular year.
Right. I think Dr. Jawahar, I think, put a very, very important point.
Yes.
You know, these are the challenges I think not only public sector is going through, but also many of the private organizations are also going through. Coming back to Rupesh. Rupesh, what do you think the employee data an organization should be capturing, to actually improve the employee performance in the organization from the Snapdeal point of view, the e-commerce guys,
So, we talk about data, right? What kind of a data? I think digitization world, we are surrounded with information. We have data available into HRIS system, and the HRIS systems have now evolved. Like Mr. Jawahar said that earlier, gone are those days where you used to manually track the information, right? Coming back to the point, what kind of a data? A data starts from the employee life cycle's first stage itself, that is the recruitment. I'll only take touch point on these individual 5 processes where, I have a valuable information floating around, but I don't think the tracking mechanism is still so robust that, we can utilize this information later on. Let's say when I look at the TA, that is the talent acquisition team, I screen the entire candidate's CV, right? I see where he's from, what he's done, what is his tenure that he served, average tenure in the organization. It's a very valuable data. For me to run a predictive analytics, it is very important to understand that this guy who is coming into my organization, will he stay and how much is he going to stay in the organization, right? So it starts from there. Obviously, we been talking and listening about the pedigree from where he belongs to. Obviously, the people coming out from IIT, IIMs, and big institutes, right? We have that mindset of, they are the super god who comes to us. No, that's not the case. Before this discussion, me and Mr. Jawahar were having a very small chat where, experience is something which has to be taken into consideration when we look at the data analytics as the mainstream. When we look at recruitment, there is a lot of scope there, but I don't know how much information has been tracked. The only reason is the TA department is too busy in getting candidates on board, and they do not have time to track your data or information there. When the guy comes to the next stage, when he's onboarded into the organization, there are compliance-related information that is always required, right? So that is mandatory that every organization should have. So there is no chance that we can miss out those information. Later on into the stage, the most important part where the data plays a major role is the performance management, right? We have sales information, we have the performance, entire performance of the guy into the system, his promotions, his rewards, his recognition. We have a lot of data available, correct? Move next, very important. Basis the performance, this data can be utilized for learning and development of the employees. It's another very crucial, important function from the point of view of helping the organization and helping the career path for the employees as well. Last but not the least, over a period of time, it is, somehow I feel that, employee engagement has been considered to be a very cliched kind of a role where, people, and there are a lot of videos on WhatsApp where you see, HRR, Holi Diwali karta hai, and all that, right? So, no, but employee engagement is so very important from HR perspective, right? Where do I need an engagement? All this set of information from the beginning that I named right now, we can plan an engagement accordingly so that, it becomes important for the guy who has joined me on my organization. He should stay, he should feel valued, and he should get a growth path as well. I'm sorry I missed one part. Very important data pointer is the absenteeism, right? When we look at the absenteeism rate of people, so the best parameter to gauge someone who is disengaged is whether he's coming to work on time, whether he's taking more leaves or not. This is a very crucial information. We run a lot of analytics over here. Let's look at his background. But the first point is whether the guy is coming to the office or not. Is he deviating from his normal working hours? Is he deviating away from his work? That is very valuable information. So we are surrounded by data into HR, and every small information, whatever we can get about the employee, has to be captured, is what I believe, Tuhin.
I think the lot of, hello? I think there's a lot of relevance between what Snapdeal, there's a lot of competition in e-com, and your customer's expectation and the employee's expectation, Also, how do you actually capture that? What you rightly said, I can relate that more than any other organization, a lot of analytics is required for you to actually say, how do you transact between the employee's expectation and what the customer's is expecting?
Very rightly said. Actually, look at the dynamics that has changed in today's world when we come to customers' expectation. Earlier days, we used to be satisfied with the products that we've gotten, and for 3-4 years, good ways, we used to maintain the products, and we used to hum chala lete the. But now we are into the world where we replace things. Every 6 months, I change a cloth, right? So same is happening with the generation also. Look at from e-commerce sector. I belong to the e-commerce sector. We see the youngest generation joining us, right? The churn rate is so high. How do we retain them? And all thanks to the economic development that's going on for last decade, correct? The technology has advanced so much. The tech people, retaining tech people, I'm the TA team, whoever belonging from the TA team will agree to this. It's very difficult to get a TA, the technology guy onboarded into your system. It's very difficult. So amongst all these challenges, how do you use information analytics is very important now. So the two areas which I would want to focus on is, let's look at his engagement is one, which is very important, right? See, I have seen, I can share a very classic case back from 2016. One of the colleague who joined from a good B school, for 6 months, he was very upset. And when I reached to him, I said, why are you so upset? He said, yaar, maza nahi aa raha yahan par. I said, kya maza nahi aa raha tujhe? He's like, yaar, मैं इतना अच्छा काम कर रहा हूँ, मुझे कोई promotion ही नहीं दे रहा. कि 6 महीने में तुझे promotion चाहिए. I mean, can you understand that, dynamics of this generation is they are very clear. I want this. तुम कितने 4 साल में तो I don't accept it. It's very important. Can you meet my requirement? Can you match up to my expectation? It becomes really difficult. And that's where we are into this world where data analytics will play a major role in getting all these requirements fulfilled. I'm not saying 100% can be fulfilled, but I'm talking only about the critical talents which you feel that they are the one who can make the change. That's where the data analytics is going to help.
Thank you, Rupesh. I think that was a very, very good perspective. Coming back to Dr. Shashi Kant from Flipkart and again the e-commerce giants. Shashi, why don't you give us some thoughts about automation or the AI in the HR, How can you leverage on the data-centric kind of an HR data-centric approach? Yeah.
Sure. So I will try to put some certain example or cases around us in the global industry. So one company might have heard about Unilever. So what they did with AI and the automation that they brought in the organization is to enable HR and bring the speed of response and giving the business value to the organization. So they used to hire, source so many candidates, and they need to screen so many candidates, and it's become very difficult to ensure that work get done in the time space. And later on, they put a system called HireView, okay? So all the candidates who are being sourced, they were told to do a video recording of their whatever profile they are possessing right now, and they are a potential candidate. This is that HireView, it given an insight score about that particular candidate, how this guy could be a potential candidate for the organization for the long-term business strategy, which organization is looking for in a candidate for a particular JD. And higher score gave that particular sensitivity analysis and all those things to the organization, how he will behave and all those things, basis facial expressions, the way he's using his tone, the way he's modulating his tone, and then the way he's moving his postures and blinking, all those things. That is being built in HireView. Secondly, they put another piece of thing while doing interview like P-metric. So another tool that they bring is like P-metric, which enable HR beforehand, the candidate is being given a game where a certain game theory, he gives him certain scenario and he needs to take some certain decisions. So how as an HR leader, he will work upon what transaction he will do and what decision he will take. And basis that they are able to figure it out ki how this guy will behave in the organization in certain way. And that's how they are able to predict ki this guy is beneficial or not. And accordingly, they used to hire candidate accordingly. And the speed of response and the cost has reduced drastically, and it helped Unilever like anything. Another organization in this particular space is IBM. You might have heard about them. So there is one chatbot called Watson. So they have one particular chatbot. So any person who coming to the organization, they have some similar kind of recruitment piece of thing. So this chatbot talks to an employee. So an employee coming to the organization, he will have all the record that is being updated by him. At the same time, the HR also put up some certain information about him, and then certain information being put in the system about him. And that particular chatbot, it's so smart that keep telling that particular employee what continuous learning he has to inbuild, what skill set is required. So career growth is being linked to continuous learning also. It's not about what potential you are having, but what potential you are carrying, but at the same time, you also require to acquire some certain skills which are required in higher roles. And you won't believe, a person has performed like anything, but that particular tool tell them, that HR used to figure it out, that this guy is not working on their skills and he has not done some certain training program, and they don't offer that much increment. And it's being clearly informed by that particular tool, that particular employee. You might be very brilliant whatever you're doing, but the role that we are looking for going forward and 5 years down the line, you are not working on your skill set. And that particular tool keep educating and telling that particular people. Now come to Flipkart, which is a new organization which has come in Indian space. How we are doing it, okay? So we also have one particular CA chatbot. So many times what happens, the HR keep giving a query, giving a people connect, people touch, and attend to many transactions. And sometimes it consumes our time. And the people-centric approach, sometimes we don't have that much particular time to figure out what transaction ko finish karu, pehle idhar jaun. So they keep revolving around those queries. So CA chatbot indicate all those information that is available about the company policies, benefit, everything about the employee. And any employee can go to the CA chatbot, can talk to that particular piece of tool, and the CA chatbot will give those answers in a smart way. So they want to understand what is the maternity benefit available in the organization. Okay, is there any other benefit for a career learning program and all those things that particular CA chatbot is giving. Another piece of thing that has been put in place some month back is like we have created one particular platform like Thrive. Like you have seen LinkedIn. So I'm not saying it's a copy of LinkedIn. It's a Thrive which is being based where an employee has to create his own profile. He needs to put his all the personal interests, all the work that he has done in the past. And basis that any other user, source can put some certain project work which give a trigger to this particular employee. These are some potential project where he can learn, can be a part of cross-functional team member, and can become a part to that particular and can create those skills and all those things. So these are some of the examples that are going on, and I'm not saying technology keep on evolving. So technology is not one piece of thing that you implemented today and then it will keep on changing. And when I say AI in HR, so we need to understand the two important things. Data analysis and data analytics are these two different parts. So data analysis talk about whatever data you are having, what has happened in the past and how it has happened in the past. That is all about data analysis. Kyun hua, kaise hua, and all those things. When we say analytics, is a much bigger term than what data analysis talk about. So analytics, we are talking about what will happen in future. So what prediction I can make, and how can I bring my intelligent smart system. So let's say you have a Power BI dashboard which gives you n number of data. But do you have any intelligent smart system? We'll figure it out. These are the three key themes which you need to work about. So many of you might have taken Pulse survey. You also might be taking like MyWa survey that we used to take in a calendar year. So when you're taking that survey, you are getting some certain trigger point. At the same time, you also might be getting some certain tenure survey also. So a person coming after a year, you keep asking through automation chatbot, ki Shashi, just tell me about how you're feeling about the organization. You keep giving those input, ki I'm not feeling good, like what Rupesh ki maja nahi aa raha hai. Maja kyun nahi aa raha hai? He needs to put all those tangible. Then the HR has to come up with that particular challenge, like what Rupesh and Dr. Jawahar has said also. The HR has to be smart enough in today's words. So having an understanding of data is very important. Second thing, you need to very good, like I said, an engineer background HR has coming up. And Rupesh has said it's not about IIT and IIMs, which is very important. It's about individuals who having a knowledge about data, good about maths. Second thing, he should also require to have a business knowledge. So as an HR, if you're good at data analytics, but you do not have a business knowledge, you will not serve anything to the organization. You keep telling, I'm a very talented guy, but until unless you do not have business knowledge about the organization, you won't be able to make a justice. And last but not the important thing, you could be very good in data analytics. You could have a very good, you could be a very mathematical person. You could have a very good business knowledge. But if you do not have a consulting mindset and you do not have a good influencing skills and you do not have a good stakeholder manage, come what may, you cannot be a good successful HR in the organization, because these three are prefix or suffix, whatever you say, because you need to take a buying in from people like Rupesh, from people like Dr. Jawahar, all these big people. Okay, so look at these 5 people who have different kind of thought process, and you people as a HR data analytics coming to these people and saying, oh, I have some certain solution around whatever problem we are facing, maybe an attrition or maybe any business problem, and then you need to take a buying in of all these things. And I will say कि मेरे को यार आधा घंटे में बताओ. Rupesh will say कि यार मेरे को ना 15 मिनट में बताओ. Now let's say Jawahar sir is busy in so many tasks, and sir I forget your name. Tuhin Biswas. So he said कि यार मेरे पास ना 5 मिनट है, मुझे 5 मिनट में impact दो. And if you are not able to give that impact in 5 minutes to Tuhin and Dr. Jawahar, how good you are in analytics or good you are in your weather data, you will not go through. So these skills are also required beside whatever you are doing. So
Thank you, Shashi. I think two things which is really coming up. One is the mindset and the upskilling, you know. Now mindset, let me just give you a small example that I know that's a challenge always. When it comes to a core data investment for your core functions, as against the people function, always the organization thinks twice. Because, you know, they always invest on in sales or in operations or in supply chain, then comes the HR, you know. So that's where we'll have to really make the difference and say that how HR data is important to enrich the make addition in the organization. And also it's very important for the HR team, you know, or the HR professionals to upgrade their understanding on the data analytics, understanding on what's happening on the people data, okay? So I have quick 9 minutes because this is a very important topic, and then we can go on and on for hours together. But I would leave it to the audience for a few questions if they have to ask the panel members. Over to the audience. Pass on the mic to. Any questions from the audience you would like to ask the panel members? Somebody there?
Hello. So my name is Vikas. I'm the part of the Jindal Steel Power team. So this is a very interesting topic when we talk about digitization, when we talk about automation these days and all. First thing that that comes to my mind is, and this was a question rightly asked from the panelist as well, where the digitization starts from, and you know what kind of skills we need for digitization. What is the need of digitization? Either I believe this is a skill and this is a competency which is not for the specific people in HR. This is for everybody, and this is for every stage. You tell me about a stage in HR where you don't need digitalization, where you don't need to present your data in an effective manner. We all are hard workers, we all work hard, we all work smart, but those who are able to present their data in an effective way, they are able to make a difference. The second thing which comes to my mind is, we keep on talking about, you know, digitalization is so important. We need it in talent acquisition, we need it in complement, we need it in PMS, we need it at almost every stage of the HR. But what is the right tool to choose the digitalization? This is another very important question. You see a lot of people talking about, why don't you use SAP, why don't you go for SuccessFactors, why don't you go for some other ATS, even if you talk about the recruitment. But what is the right process of choosing a right digitalization tool is also equally important for a HR professional. Another thing, we are talking a lot about in terms of what we can do with the AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and playing with the data which is already there with the organization. So At the same time, we should not be blind and keep on saying that, AI is needed. We can have a certain chatbot, we can have certain, we can build our own tool basis the need, and then we can keep on analyzing the data. But at the same time, we need to be sure to what kind of tool you need in a particular function. Something that you have for talent acquisition, you cannot use that for PMS. So rather going for something which is already there in the market, I believe we should do our own exercise, try to get in touch with the IT people, and then try to build a data, then try to build a tool which can be effectively used for your own organization. That is what I believe.
Yeah.
When it comes to
You have a question for this? The right kind of tool? Should we ask the
the
panelists?
tool I would like to ask about, how,
Yes, yes.
how should we use the right tool? That is my question.
Shashi, do you want to?
So the first and the most important thing is like, when you talk about data analysis or playing with some certain data, so you need to have two things, common skill that is required in you. One is data literacy, and second is digital literacy. Like he's rightly pointed out, given data was not in digital form. So people like Dr. Jawahar, Rupesh, or like all those business leaders, they were taking decisions. But how they were taking decisions? Based on their intuition and basis their experience they have gained over the period of data that has been crunched in their mind and basis their experience. It's not like a organization was not running without a digital space. But coming to an era, last 14, 15 years, what we have seen, the organization start putting their data in a digital form. Like I give my example. So when I was working in BHL, so I was an HR BP for blue collar and white collar employees. So we have 6,000 employees, on-roll employees, and we used to maintain their personal file in a big room. Just think, one personal file used to have 70 to 80 pages about a particular individual. Dr. Jawahar can easily correlate about those things. And every piece of page having some certain information. And just look around right now. So organization like, many organizations right now, they are putting all those information in digital form. Now coming to an HR, how HR, when to use all these interventions like AI and all those things. The first thing that you need to answer, what is the purpose of bringing any tool or any AI-based platform in your organization? It should enable HR in such a way that he is able to have some hands-free work, and he is able to utilize his more time towards bigger picture or bigger impact projects. So whatever transaction you're doing on daily basis, giving queries, ke acha, kitna increment milega, ya what is the leave policy, that my CH chatbot can do it. But people touch is always there. And so one is data literacy, second digital literacy. When I'm saying data, you need to be very much aware what kind of data you're capturing. And basis this particular data, you also need to be aware about what interpretation you need to come out of it. So like you need to build a story around it. So you will have n number of data. I have a history of, let's say, 40 years. I have a history of, let's say, 10 years working in the organization. I'm just giving an example. So if I'm not able to bring out a picture around it to give a business solve, it will not help. And when you talk about digital literacy, it's talk about two critical things. You need to be critical analyzer, and you need to be a logical reasoning guy person. So these traits also required. But ultimately, if you're not able to create a picture out of it, which enable you as an HR, which help you in supporting some certain business activity, which give a larger impact to the organization, so only then you are able to make some certain justice as an HR in a digital era or wherever the organization you're working for. So that's my...
Quickly supplementing to what he says. Just I would like to quote two examples which has happened recently. Government of India, there is a Supreme Court judgment which has announced that employees in public sector who are running their own trust in public provident trust, they can have higher pension. So people, this scheme, that is EPA, I mean the pension scheme, which was there from 1995 onwards, pension scheme was there, but it was not computerized because 1995 just started. So people were not having digital data. So as a result, what happened? When digitalization started taking place in public sectors after 2000, only they were having the data. Before that, they do not have the data. It was all in manual. 20 years before, where it has gone, nobody knows. People were searching for the data. So after 2000, digitalization, because of digitalization, quickly they were able to capture the data. They were able to produce data to the individuals. Second most important event was that you all must be knowing, Honorable Prime Minister, this government has announced 10 lakhs jobs for jobless. So there was a recruitment mission recruitment. Public sectors have been geared up for getting into the recruitment mission mode, and Prime Minister himself was offering this offer letter to the successful deserving candidates. Without this digitalization and data revolution, it would not have been possible. So there is no choice for HR people now. More digitalization, more problem for HR. That is what I would say. Because you have to gear up for the situation and you have to work for the situation, and it is going to be the tough time. We thought that digitalization will make things easier, but it is not so. Because you are asked to take decision immediately, quickly, how to act on it. These things will happen. I am talking about public sector perspective, and more so it can happen with the private sector also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jawahar, and thank you, panelists. I think we just left with few seconds. And do you have a permission to get few more questions, or we're done? Any more questions from the...
Check.
The mic there, please.
Okay, so what we can do, we can ask couple of questions, 2 questions we can ask from the crowd. Any one of you want to ask anything? Yes, we have few hands.
Yes. Please.
Hey,
Shashi, you're not able to hear. He's got the mic. Yeah, behind.
Okay, so looking at data, we talk about predictive analytics as one of the aspects of looking data. The other aspect, officially I don't know, but I call it post-mortem analysis. So I'll keep that aside, predictive analytics. So since we have the panel from manufacturing, services, e-commerce, it's a very mixed blend, right? So just wanted to know the industry trend. What are the key people strategy touchpoint, HR touchpoints in which industry is doing predictive analytics? And what is the scope of data, like past 2-3 years, comparative, internal, external? Just need some, if I can get some insights on that, that will be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So in fact, I would like to share one case study, I would say. In one of my organization, what happened that, we had some data. So we gathered that data through one survey. And the background of this case study is this, that, there was a plant which we acquired. And the plant was on the verge of shutdown. So when we acquired it, the morale of the employees were, you can very well imagine. So it was very low. And when we acquired it, that kind of environment in the office, in the factory, it was like, people are just coming, they are just working, no participation, no engagement, no smiles on the faces, monotonous job. Then we thought that let's do something about it. We gathered the data through one survey, employee satisfaction or employee engagement survey, whatever you call it. There were few questions, and from that questions, we gathered the data, and we predicted that, if we go like this, if we don't do anything, we will be a mediocre company. We will be a mediocre, this plant's performance will be mediocre. Then we thought, let's do something about it. We took the initiative. There was a good dose of employee engagement activities, ranging from sports activities to Independence Day event, talent show to, whatever you name it. All the employee engagement activities, the innovative training programs were introduced. And after 2 years, the score, which was 3 out of 5 earlier, it went to 4.8 out of 5. And the performance that year of that plant was the highest recorded one. So this is how you can use the data. This was, the employee engagement part, we just converted into numbers, and we took some initiatives, and that was very successful. So we can use it.
One example. So in 2018, we have a waste settlement in Maruti. So there's a long-term settlement that we require to be done with all that 3 plant union that we have in Maruti. One is a car plant, one is a powertrain, and Gurgaon plant. And beforehand, a 6-month back, a person like you came us, how as an HR you are forcing what will about to come, and what will you will position yourself as an employer in giving all those benefit and having a proper wage settlement without any IR issues and challenge. And trust me, there's one particular CFT form of some young people because they are thinking ये नए लोग हैं कुछ करेंगे है ना ढूंढ के लाएंगे नया because the experienced people have some certain intuitive mind because they have seen past experience, they are able to comprehend कि क्या क्या आने वाला है, but they're given an opportunity to some 3-4 people and I was a part of it. And sometimes data tell you, guide you something and it will give you some enabling point कि how you need to go about in 6 months down the line what will about to come. And when we check out the demography of the organization, we figure out the age group of the organization that we are having right now. So we have an old plant which is Gurgaon car plant, set up in 1984. Then Manisa car plant came in 2005, and then Powertrain came around 2007. So it's a blend of young and old people working in the same organization. And there is a past history of from PSU to private, and then we have new plant coming with a productivity matrix and all those things. So when we figure out the demography, we'll figure it out 80% of the manpower is quite young right now. And there is a very high demand on having post-retirement medical benefit, pension, all those things. And somehow we are analyzed here. Now we need to split this part into 3 parts. Okay, one is young workforce, which is about to get married, which is not married, young, and they want to enjoy their life because these are Gen Z or Gen X, and they want to have complete freedom. They want to have a work-life balance, all those things. They want to enjoy their salary, all those things. Second kind of cohort that we are looking, a person who is married, having children, so what kind of expectation he will be having from the organization कि मेरे बच्चे के लिए भी कुछ करे, मेरे लिए भी कुछ करे, counseling program करे, my kid should be. And then last but not least, there's the old guy कि pension होना चाहिए. And we are able to figure out कि what we are doing as an organization right now, and then we are able to figure out कि what is the expectation that is required from these people. We went to the ground, had some certain cohort discussion with set of people, we had figure out those quality data, we try to bring out some certain theme, and basis that we are able to figure out कि इसमें हमें कुछ करना है. So we need to do many things in the thing, and you won't believe when that waste settlement happened, we are able to comprehend, and then we are able to give all those benefits in the right way, which talk about the sustainability of organization in 2018. Yeah.
Thank you, Shashi. I think we'll end this session, but saying that, see, it's very important for us to have the right kind of, analyze the right kind of data, people data required for the organization and how it is implemented. Otherwise, it remains as a caterpillar. It doesn't boom into a butterfly. You know, so it's very important for you. Then you realize after some time that ये तो data हम लोग को चाहिए नहीं था. This is not what we wanted. And then we try to move into another analytics company and implement something new. It's very important for us to analyze and before predicting the future, predict the past and see that what kind of organization we are into, what is the culture of the organization, what can we do and what we can't do. I'm sure there are many questions, but we are pressed for time, and I think he's looking at me and staring at me, started staring at me now. So thank you very much, the audience. Thank you very much, the panelists.
Thank you so much, all of you. If you guys... So I'm sure you must be having a lot of the questions, so you would be getting the time at the lunch of time, so you guys can ask them, go directly to them, you can ask your question, whatever the query you have. So with this, we would be proceeding towards our felicitation ceremony. And to felicitate all the people, all the panel members over here, I would like to call, please put your hands together for Ms. Shivangi Gupta, Global Commercial Partnership Lead, English Online from British Council. Can we have a huge round of applause for her, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us. So let's start our felicitation. So Dr. Jawahar, please come over here. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Jawahar? Mr. Rupesh Gupta. Mr. Yashpal Singh. Dr. Shashi Kant. So last but not the least, our moderator, Tuhin Biswas. Please put your hands together for Mr. Tuhin.